Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Trippy Commentaries. Thanks for joining me in Grand Theft Auto 5. I'm RJ. Yesterday we had part 1 in our trilogy looking at the real Chiliad mystery. I'll have a link in the description if you missed it, because today we will be going even deeper. I already told you guys how this cave is somehow a sacred portal that leads to the inside of Mount Chiliad. Chiliad is based off of Mount Shasta, the most mysterious mountain in the entire world. Apparently that mountain had UFOs, aliens, and even 10-foot tall mummies hidden inside of it. And I'm pretty sure that something is going on just like it here in Grand Theft Auto 5's Mount Chiliad. Now this is somehow the entrance inside the mountain, but the question is, how are we going to activate it? Thanks again for joining up for the episode, guys. Subscribe if you're new. Quick shout out to everyone who's part of the Trippy community. You guys have really been going out of your way by hitting me up on Twitter, liking the videos, and giving me a ton of feedback. Our clan is getting very strong. I'll have some links in the description to some guys that I recommend that you follow on Twitter. These guys definitely have my back, so I'm pretty sure if you're a member of the Trippy community, they'll probably have yours as well. Special shout out to Danny Otis, Player 2, Bubblin' Panda, and the legend Jonathan Assault. Those guys are a big reason on why our community is as epic as it is. So let's get into it. You can already see this weird glow that's going on here inside the cave. That doesn't seem to make sense. The glow's on the inside. How's the reflection getting into the portal? I'm sure it's just some sort of a glitch, but the one thing that I noticed that seems to be the repeating factor to these portals is the sun. And we've had praised the sun as one of the biggest clues, if not the biggest clue in the Chiliad mystery for a while. So take a look at one of these sacred portals and I'll show you the resemblance on why this is pretty much the same thing. So here are what the altruists are trying to build. Notice how this one is the gate of the sun. So they are praising the sun just like the altruists. I'm thinking the sun must have something to do with creating the portal itself, but all these are made from heavy stone, just like the one you can find below the camp. Keep in mind the altruists are constantly talking about aliens and trying to contact them. If the aliens are inside the mountain, then this is how you're going to create the portal to get there. And of course you can see the cave itself definitely has that same design. The hidden message here at the camp that I think is referring to the portal is this one. It says, "Our path is lit," and it looks like the O in "our" is even made up by a sun. So I think the path is what's leading into the mountain. Of course they are trying to get to the aliens, so they need the path to get there, and then maybe what's lit is the portal itself. Now here in this file we killed off all the altruist members, so they're not going to be able to help us. Looks like we'll have to do it ourselves. Take a look at the Chiliad mural. Anybody who looks at this for the first time thinks the same thing. They think that it is depicting underground tunnels. You can see one entrance that looks right about here. There's another one right there. And there's even a way to get between the jetpack and the UFO. The cracked egg is what goes through the core itself. So all these things look to be inside of the mountain. How exactly are we going to get there? I wonder with the lightning bolts being represented on the mural. Maybe that has something to do with the portal itself. But really, going by what we heard in yesterday's episode, I don't think we're going to get inside the mountain voluntarily. Listen to this.
An exhaustive list of all the stories of people who've claimed to be taken into the underground chambers and caverns beneath Mount Shasta would fill a lot of books, and extends well back into the late 1800s. Sometimes people claim to venture into these subterranean regions voluntarily, at other times, not so voluntarily. The strange true story of a 3-year-old child that was lost in the Shasta forest for 5 hours is just one of the many strange things that have happened. He was gone within a second, according to witnesses, but later that day the boy reappeared, and told a story not of this earth. He claimed he was abducted by a robot double of his grandmother, and taken to cave filled with spiders,
So while some people are actively searching for the entrance into the mountain, others are abducted. And the one thing that I keep hearing about the people who were abducted is that they get taken to a cave filled with spiders. Here in GTA 5, we do have the 2 hidden spider webs located on Mount Chiliad, and we never knew what these things meant. Well, it could be symbolizing that we need to get abducted, and considering they only show up at 1 a.m., that could be the time that we have to get abducted on Mount Chiliad. Have you guys ever noticed how the spider web doesn't appear from the top view? You can only see it while looking from below. That's kind of strange. So the question is now, where do we get abducted? I still think that it is the portal where we are going to get abducted. So maybe it's not only the entrance into the mountain, but maybe the place that we actually fall into it. In other words, this isn't just a portal, it is also what they call a false door. And there's one just like it on Mount Shasta. But before we look at that, let's take a look at some other false doors, and it kind of proves how this is really the most sacred location in the entire game.
The so-called false door is found through ancient constructions around the world, from Egyptian to Inca. Conventional thought is that these doors were constructed as a symbolic entry point for shamans and the deceased in order to transit the afterlife, a sort of guidepost. But there are other thoughts as well, based on stories from many native tribes where the false door turns into a stargate. In other words, some have claimed they have seen beings come and go from these portals, as well as strange disappearances around them. In fact, in Chihuahua, Mexico, at Paquime, star beings are said to regularly come out of these doorways by the very people who created this large complex. We have a situation here, a somewhat crude-looking doorway, stargate or not, that was revered and used in the deep ancient past, at the very least as a shamanic portal to transit worlds. To add to more intrigue, though, there have been some strange disappearances in this very area. The remote viewers described kind of like a washing machine effect. They would get pulled in. It was like a slide going down, and they would tumble and fall. A lot of spinning, and they described it as a vortex. There's a very strange sensation walking up to this and also in front of it. All I can describe it as is a squishy energy, like you're sticking your hand into a sponge, as well as this slight pull inward. You can see that there appears to be somewhat of a seam, and also has the appearance of being inset from behind, possibly carved a very, very long time ago. It's clear this was used as a cultural and shamanic portal, but I have more questions than answers here. Where do they go, and why? Could something like this affect and create a transit on a physical level, much like the lore of the Stargate?
The doorway found on Mount Shasta looks a lot like the one here in the game. The only difference is the writing, but that is basically just clues. And you heard how it's not just a door, it is also a vortex that can pull you inside. So how do we activate the energy? I think it might have something to do with the spider webs. They could be telling us to come here at 1 a.m. But I ran into an issue. Take a look at the clock. It is completely frozen. As soon as I came over here, time stopped. So did we trigger something? It could be a glitch, of course. I was just using director mode, and I froze the time there to see the spider webs, but I have completely reloaded everything since then, and it's actually been a while. So I'm not sure what's going on. Probably a glitch. Maybe we did activate some sort of portal or time stoppage. Let me know what you think, guys. But in the third part of the trilogy, I'll let you know even more information. Of course, Mount Shasta is all about UFOs, underground mummies, and aliens, sacred powers, and that is exactly what's going on here at Mount Chiliad, guys, so stay tuned. In the first part, I told you how it was pretty crazy how you can see the top of Mount Chiliad and the mural hut from all the key locations in the game, and it is no different here at the portal. Thanks again for joining up, guys. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the trilogy so far. Make sure to reach out to me on Twitter if you guys have any information that you want to be part of the third episode in the trilogy. Make sure to stay tuned. We have a live stream coming up later. And as always, make sure to stay tuned and stay motherfucking trippy, my friends.